I was only 6 years old when Aladdin was released in theaters, but it is a movie I remember being a personal favorite at the time. When the Aladdin game was released on the Super Nintendo in 1993, I would often ask to rent it from our local video store. I remember how much trouble some parts of the game gave me growing up, but it was one I finally managed to beat after numerous attempts. That Cave of Wonders escape sequence is brutal, what can I say? It has been years since I last revisited the SNES version of Aladdin, but thanks to my channel backers, I got to see what playing the game in 2025 is like. Aladdin wants to make it by living on the street with his monkey friend Abu. One day, Aladdin stumbles upon Princess Jasmine in disguise and gets wrapped up in the grand schemes of Jafar. Jafar is hoping to use Aladdin to get his hands on a genie to take over the kingdom of Agrabah. It is up to Aladdin to stop him. The SNES adaptation of Aladdin does an excellent job of retelling the major plots of the movie through in-game cutscenes. These scenes are text-based, with images portraying what is happening. While the levels take liberties on the source material, such as an acid trip through Genie Land, it never goes so far as to feel unfaithful to the spirit of the movie. Aladdin is an action platformer that tasks players with navigating 7 stages broken up into multiple levels based on various parts of the movie. Starting in the streets of Agrabah, players are eased into the action to learn the basic controls of the game. The D-pad controls Aladdin, while face buttons allow you to jump and throw apples. A hidden cloth can be discovered that allows Aladdin to glide after a jump with an easy press of R. Multiple control schemes are available in the options menu to tune the experience to your liking, but the default handled well during my playtime. Levels consist of different platforms or terrain that you must navigate over. Aladdin's movement works well with running, jumping, swinging on poles, and gliding at the player's disposal. Gliding is an interesting inclusion as it makes the more difficult platforming segments easier to navigate. If you happen to get a game over though, the cloth is taken away until you find it again. Several obstacles behave like a trampoline that can give Aladdin more height to reach different areas. They can be a bit unwieldy at first, but they further add to Aladdin's unique movement. The inclusion of ledge grabbing is also an absolute treat. Various enemies are placed throughout stages and are defeated by jumping on top of them. You could also use apples to stun them to give yourself a better opening to attack without taking damage. Getting hit by an enemy reduces your heart count, and at the beginning of the game, taking unnecessary damage is extra problematic since your heart count is so low. During a playthrough, players can expand their hearts to 10 by finding heart upgrades or collecting 100 gems in various levels. Hidden scarabs can be found in levels that give you access to a genie spin wheel that can also give you heart upgrades if you are lucky. Extra lives and health refills are what I typically receive. Surprisingly, boss fights in Aladdin are rather sparse, with most levels just tasking you to reach the end to finish them. The end of Stage 1 has your first fight against the fruit vendor whom Jasmine steals an apple from, but then you don't see another real boss fight until the end of Stage 6, where you begin your showdown with Jafar. Stage 7 has your final showdown against Jafar, but each fight is decent with the typical need for pattern recognition and repeated head bonks to overcome. There are some nice environment surprises in the final Jafar fight since you are fighting on his body. For 2 levels in Aladdin, you get to take control of Carpet. Carpet is controlled by the D-pad and has a decent movement speed. Carpet's Cave of Wonders escape level is the hardest in the game, having players navigate around falling boulders and lava rushes. To further add to the challenge, the terrain begins to shift, and of course getting hit by anything is an immediate death. Like I said before, this was where I got stuck as a kid, and even in this most recent replay, I had to blow through a continue before I made it through. Thankfully, the second carpet stage is just a free flight bonus level with Jasmine that you only need to worry about collecting gems on. I have been loving the 16-bit adaptations of Aladdin themes found throughout my playtime of the game. Other effects are equally well portrayed. Everything fits the tone of each level so well. Since the whole new world level is so carefree, it is easy to sit back and just enjoy what the SNES sound chip does for these renditions. While the Sega Genesis version of Aladdin developed by Virgin Interactive used hand-drawn characters and animations, the SNES version of Aladdin has a traditional pixel art aesthetic. While not as celebrated as the Genesis version, the artwork is well done and has great animation for every action and enemy. Environments are wonderfully detailed with excellent backgrounds. It is a visually appealing game in every sense and does the SNES hardware justice. During this review period for Aladdin, I had only minor gripes with the game. The biggest of these is how inconsistent the Cave of Wonders escape sequence is compared to the rest of the game. I don't mind it being hard, but when the rest of the game is not that difficult, it is a bit of a shock. My other issue just comes from how awkward the spring jumps can be. There were a few extra deaths or damage taken from these, but overall nothing too frustrating. Unfortunately, Aladdin is an incredibly short game. My most recent playthrough, after not having played in years, only took me around 51 minutes to finish. Since the game remains the same on subsequent playthroughs, the biggest challenge to draw players back for another run is to collect the 10 gems found in each stage. There is a nice retro achievement set for it that can add some challenge if you are interested. As previously noted, there was a Sega Genesis game also based on Aladdin released by Virgin Interactive in 1993. This is a completely different game and should not be confused with the SNES version. The SNES game did see a Game Boy Advance port in 2004 in North America that retained all the original game and added an extra level. Unfortunately, all of the Aladdin music based on the movie was removed. The original Disney Classic Games collection included the Sega Genesis version of Aladdin and later the SNES version as DLC. The 2021 Disney Classic Games collection, Aladdin, The Lion King, and The Jungle Book, released for PC, PS4, Switch, and Xbox One, included the SNES version of Aladdin at the start. Both of these feature a rewind function to help players get through that Cave of Wonder segment. Revisiting Aladdin today was an enjoyable experience. It gives us a fun way to revisit the story of the Disney classic and can be done in a single sitting. While the odd difficulty spike in the Cave of Wonders will always baffle me, it shouldn't be a hindrance for anyone dedicated to finishing the game. The audio and visuals also hold up well for anyone fond of 16-bit aesthetics. Even if you don't have an SNES lying around, the game is now readily available on modern systems with great quality of life improvements to make your time with it that much more enjoyable. Thank you for making it to the end of today's review. It is just such a blast to revisit these older games that I haven't really seen in a long time and just remembering how good they are. Like, Disney games, you wouldn't really expect them to be fun and good, but a lot of them back then really were, and it's so great. So just keep those votes coming, guys. Like, this is awesome. Like, thank you so much for this experience and just letting me share this with you. Like, amazing. But whether you grew up with the SNES or Genesis version of Aladdin, I hope that you take the time to really try both, because both are so good in their own rights. But we're going to go ahead and call it here. Again, thank you for watching today's review on the SNES version of Aladdin. Here at the end, just the usual favors to ask. If you haven't already, please be sure to hit that thumbs up, thumbs down button, depending on how much you like today's review, as well as hitting that sub button and notification bell so you can see when new videos go live on the channel. Loads of content always coming your way, and I'd love to have each and every one of you along for the ride. Now, if you would like to further help support the channel and keep it going, and be a part of these weekly retro reviews, please be sure to check out that join button here on YouTube or the Patreon link in the bottom right hand corner of the screen. For as little as $1 a month, you could join the backer channel on my Discord and suggest and vote for our weekly retro reviews, among other things. Big thank you to all of our current backers. Just couldn't do it without you. Just thank you again for all of your support. But until next time, my wonderful internet peeps, you all stay awesome, keep on gaming, and we'll see you all back next video.